With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Some of you may remember that this weekend, don't know if you've heard about this or not, but a little announcement was made at Comic-Con on Saturday night at the Marvel Hall H panel. Now, of course, one of the big pieces of news that Joe and Anthony Russo, the Russo brothers, the directors of Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame are back and will be directing Avengers 5 and 6. And for those of you who missed out on it, one of their main writers, McFeely, is back and he's going to be writing those films. So, I mean, the gang's all back to Kevin Feige with the Russos, with McFeely, are making Avengers 5 and 6. Everybody's excited. But then the big showstopper news came. Robert Downey Jr., as I have said for years, returns to the MCU, but returning as Dr. Doom. New mask, same task. What's that task? I think it's to build a suit of armor around the world, but for very different reasons. So anyway, that's come out. Now, we all knew that with Robert Downey Jr. coming back, under normal circumstances, it was going to cost a lot of money for them to get him back. Well, the difference now is Robert Downey Jr. has an Oscar. Robert Downey Jr. now's got a shiny Oscar sitting on his desk. So you knew the price tag was going to be hefty. But it's more than hefty. Let's go over to CBR, who writes the following. According to the source, getting the old gang back together has been a costly endeavor. The Russo brothers will earn $80 million for their work on the upcoming Avengers blockbusters. That's $40 million each film. While Downey will take home, quote unquote, significantly more. Now, it's not just that. They said in another paragraph, they wrote this. Joe and Anthony Russo were the only ones that Robert Downey Jr. said he would do it. That was his condition, that I would want to work with the Russo brothers again, and the Russo brothers wanted to work with him. So that was no problem. Made that happen. A source familiar with the deal told Variety while discussing the negotiations for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Now here's the thing. This is the other thing that Robert Downey Jr. wants. The Academy Award winning actor also requested his own private jet for travel while filming, a dedicated security team, which is actually not unreasonable for a guy of his stature right now, and an entire trailer encampment, which honestly is, that costs peanuts. That doesn't really mean anything. Actors don't usually get it, but that's fine. And by the way, he's not getting a private jet like they're going to give him a private jet. What they're going to do is they're going to have a private jet at his disposal for flying during travel. So he's going to get a lot. But what exactly does significantly more mean? Now, Robert Downey Jr. previously pulled in one of the highest paychecks in cinematic history in making $75 million on one film with Marvel. He did it on a couple of them. So before I tell you what I'm going to tell you next, let me be very, very clear. There's a reason I haven't put this in the title of it or anything like that, because I'm about to tell you something that I've been told that I cannot independently verify. Okay? Are we clear on this? I'm about to share with you, because we're just talking. I'm a pundit. I'm not a journalist. All right? I'm about to share something with you that I have heard, but I cannot independently verify it. Maybe what I'm about to say will get out there and somebody else will be able to verify it. But I am not independently verifying this. I'm just telling you what I was told, okay? Could be right, could be wrong. Are we clear on this? Have I put a big enough asterisk on this? Okay. What I have been told is that RDJ is going to get a slightly bigger base salary than he got in the other films, which is not saying a lot because he didn't have that big of a base salary. Where Robert Downey Jr.'s most of his money came on the other films was in the back end points. Okay. So he got a certain percentage of whatever the movie's made, and that's how his paycheck got up to like $75 million. What I have been told, again, that I cannot independently verify, is that it will be a slightly larger base salary with a point. How do I put this? Well, getting points on the films that will be significant and will cap out at $100 million per film. To put that into perspective, all right? To put that in perspective, that would mean that would tie the all-time biggest paychecks for one actor getting in a movie ever. Currently, the record holders are tied $100 million for a film. Tom Cruise for Top Gun Maverick, he ended up with $100 million. And Will Smith for Men in Black 3. That's really for Men in Black 3? Yep, for Men in Black 3, but that's just how it worked out. So the current title holders for the biggest paychecks ever in a movie. Remember, we're in an industry where most big major stars will make between $10 and $20 million. All right? Big major A-list superstars will make between $10 and $20 million. Tom Cruise and Will Smith each got $100 million at the end of the day for Top Gun Maverick and for Men in Black 3. If what I'm being told is true, and that's a major if, Robert Downey Jr. will join those ranks, except it won't just be for one movie, it'll be for two. He could walk away from these two movies with $200 million. $200 million. And Amin is saying, this is why we had the actor strike. Here's the thing, because he's getting all this money, a lot of the next level down actors are going to make a lot less in these movies because they got to pay Robert Downey Jr. Anyway, I'm not here to deny Robert getting whatever money that he's going to get for these movies, and it's going to be a lot. Because listen, when he pulled off that mask, all right, when he pulled off that mask in that Comic-Con panel, we pulled off the Doom mask and it was him. I can't remember the last time we heard a bigger pop in Hall H at Comic-Con. I keep wanting to say CinemaCon. At Comic-Con in years. Biggest pop I've heard in there in years. It absolutely nuts. Absolutely crazy. People are going nuts for this. Now, I understand there are some people out there who don't like the idea. I'm telling you right now, this is a stroke of genius. This is a stroke of genius on their part. This is going to be huge. I've been saying that. Look, I've said this before. You've heard me say it a dozen times. You'll hear me say it a dozen times again. If Kevin Feige had called me and asked me, do you think we should make Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom? I would say, no, I don't think a Tony Stark variant should be Victor Von Doom in another universe. I think you should go more traditional. That's what I would do, okay? That's what I would do. But I'm open-minded enough that I recognize that even though this is not something that I would do, this is genius. I think the whole notion of the face of the world's greatest hero becoming the world's greatest threat is loaded with potential. And in the hands of McFeely, the Russo brothers, and Kevin Feige, and again, when that combination of people have worked together before, the results have been Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. That's what the results of that have been. So I think they know what they're doing. Now, I know a lot of people are particularly like hardcore comic book fans. And by the way, 95% of the average movie-going audience have no idea that Dr. Doom's name is Victor Von Doom. 95% of the average movie-going audience doesn't know, so they don't care. 95% of the average movie-going audience does not care. That's just a fact, all right? You can care, I can care, But 95% of the movie-going audience doesn't care because they just don't know. And so there are people who want to know, well, we want a more traditional, kind of Dr. Doom. Well, here's the thing. They've done more or less, to a degree, they've done the traditional Dr. Doom 5 times already. 3 times they did it in the Chris Evans ones. 1 time they did it in the Michael B. Jordan one. 1 time they did it in the Roger Corman one. We maybe shouldn't even count that one, but I will for the sake of this discussion. But they've done the traditional Victor Von Doom, Dr. Doom 5 times already, and it's never worked. That doesn't mean they shouldn't try it again. That doesn't mean they shouldn't try it again. I'm sorry, 4 times. That's not saying that they shouldn't try it again, but it means, hey guys, they've tried it a number of times already. They tried it a few times with Chris Evans. They tried it with Michael B. Jordan. They tried it, that Corman tried it once. They've done it and it's never worked. So why not try something different? Seriously, why not try something different? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and just expecting different things. Again, I'm not saying that because Dr. Doom has never worked before, that doesn't mean you shouldn't try it again. I'm not saying that this would even be my first choice. But everybody's acting like, oh my God, they got Robert Downey Jr. being Dr. Doom. This could never possibly work. They should do it the way it's done before. Well, they've done it a certain way before and it's never worked. So maybe it's worth a shot trying something different. Heavens forbid. And something different that I think is going to be emotionally resonant with the audience if they do it well. Now listen, this may be a disaster, right? This might totally blow up in their faces. Absolutely. But guess what? We want to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Hungryroot. Guys, you know me, I like things that make my life easier, especially things that make it easier for me to eat healthy and eat well, and certainly more effectively than trying to order from food delivery services. Hungryroot is the easiest way to eat healthy. They send you fresh, high-quality groceries, simple, delicious recipes, and essential supplements. It's like having someone else do all the planning and shopping so you don't even have to think about it. Hungryroot gets to know your personal health goals, dietary restrictions, favorite foods, how much time you want to spend cooking, and more. Then they build you a personalized cart with all your grocery needs for the week, including easy 4-ingredient recipes to put those groceries to use. Each order is fully customizable so you can take their suggestions or choose anything you want. They've got fresh produce, high quality meat and seafood, healthy snacks, smoothies, sweets, ready to eat meals, kids snacks and meals, vitamins and supplements, and much more. Everything from Hungryroot follows a simple standard. It's got to taste good, be quick to make, and contain whole, trusted ingredients. Right now, Hungryroot is offering the John Campea Show listeners 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/Campea to get 40% off your first delivery and get your free veggies. That's hungryroot.com/Campea. Don't forget to use our link so that they know we sent you. Even if they went the traditional route with a traditional Victor Von Doom, it could still go bad and it could still blow up in their faces. It could be awesome and it could be terrible. This could be awesome and this could be terrible. Absolutely. But you tried it the other way so many times already. It doesn't mean you can't try it again, but why not? Do something a little bit different, because the MCU is not the comic books, right? The MCU is not the comic books. It's its own thing. The MCU has never directly followed the comic books. Age of Ultron, totally different from the Age of Ultron comic series. Civil War, completely different from the Civil War comic story run, and on and on and on, right? The MCU has never directly followed the comic stories. They've always taken liberties, always done their own thing, always taken inspiration and taken the blueprint from the comic stories, but then made it their own thing because it's a different medium, right? Them doing this with Robert Downey Jr. is no different. It's just going to cost them. It's just going to cost them because the Russo brothers are getting $40 million each per film. And from what my understanding is, and again, it could be wrong. I can't independently verify it. And I've only heard it from one source. I didn't hear it from multiple sources. So it could be wrong, but I'll be curious to find out if other people verify this or not. From what I understand, Robert Downey Jr. is going to get $100 million a film. And you know what? If it all works, it'll be well worth it. There is more excitement today for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and its future than there was 2 weeks ago. There's no denying. They've had a couple of big things, right? They got Deadpool and Wolverine is a massive smash hit. Everybody loves it. They had a big pop at Hall H. Everybody's excited about what was done. Huge celebratory pop that came out of there from the fans. I'm very quickly, the perception has changed. Now, I'm not saying it's justified, but I'm saying the perception has changed. You can still have your doubts. I can still have my doubts. But the reality is the perception has changed than what it was like even a week and a half ago. There's some excitement around there. And I think a lot of it has to do with this announcement of the Russos returning, of Robert Downey Jr. returning as Dr. Doom. Might be great, might be the best thing they've ever done, might blow up in their faces. We'll have to see, but that's a hell of a lot of money. That is a hell of a lot of money. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? According to the reports, Robert Downey Jr. is getting tons of money. The Russo brothers are getting tons of money. And they are really going all in on these next two Avengers films, Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret Wars. Hopefully for me, it'll wrap up the whole multiverse nonsense, but we'll have to see. Is it a good move? Is it a bad move? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.